His Excellency, First Vice President, General Taban Dengai, His Excellency, General Paul Manyang Jok, honorable members of South Sudan delegation to the United States, to UN General Assembly, Comrade Chairman Lado Jadovec, SPLM chapters in the United States, South Sudanese communities across the US. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome you to the first and only SPLM International Conference under the theme Reconciliation, Forgiveness, and Permanent Peace in South Sudan. Please allow me to thank my comrades that have worked tirelessly to make this conference a success. I also like to thank the team that came to the United States, that is accompanying our first Vice President, General Taban Dengai, that is attending this gathering with us. This is a historical meeting for all South Sudanese in the United States of America to come together at a very crucial time when our country is being attacked by the enemies. And the first enemy is being our own self, the South Sudanese, which is paving the way for the external enemies to bring in their agenda. We at the SPLM, we refuse the divisions. We at the SPLM, we rejected the tribalism. We at the SPLM, we are 64 tribes. We are the Dinkas, we are the Chuluk, we are the Anuak, we are the Nyangara, and all 64 tribes are in the flags of South Sudan. They are cemented in the DNA of our country that we all die for. There is no blood that is too thin. All people that have died for our country, Southern Sudan, have died for a noble reason. Our martyrs are respected and are honored, and we all have to come together and say no to war. We have to come and say no to violence. We need our kids to live in peace. We need the next generation to see the happiness. We need to have the freedom that this country has. And I'm sure with our work, we can deliver to our country. As members of the SPLM and the team that have worked tirelessly to make this conference a success, we are committed to support the government of our President Salva Kiir Mayardit and the first Vice President General Taban Dengai and our President and our Vice President Wani Iga. And I assure the team that came from Juba that the SPLM and the people of South Sudan United States are united behind their government and behind their people. And for as long as you work for peace, we will stand with you. Do not worry. You have great soldiers that will fight on the Facebook to promote the peace in our country, South Sudan. And our message is, from today on, let's change the messages that we put out. Let's stop the messages of hate and violence, and let's promote peace in our country. And with that, I ask everybody, please reconcile. Look at the person next to you. Tell him, my brother, I forgive.
SPLM oye! SPLM oye! Thank you very much, my fellow South Sudanese from across the United States of America and Canada. And I would like to thank the chapter leaders and the members of the SPLM National Secretariat, both the Executive and the Advisory Council. I would ask that you please rise so people know who you are. Thank you. Your Excellency, General Tabandengai, the first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, a man of peace, a man of unity, and a man of the people, General, His Excellency General Paul Manyang Juk, Senior Member of the SPLM Political Bureau, and Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, honorable members of the South Sudan delegation to the United States of America, my ambassadors to the US and the ambassadors who have accompanied the delegation, chapter leaders, coordinators, my fellow South Sudanese, SPLA veterans among us, my fellow comrades, and my fellow South Sudanese citizens. The Apostle Paul writes, the body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts. And though its parts are many, they form one body. Scientists at Cornell University recently found out that apple peels contain a dozen compounds that help fight cancer. Another team at Northwestern University discovered that olive oil not only reduces the risk of breast cancer, but also boosts the effectiveness of a drug used to treat the disease. Another study determined that garlic does the body good by relaxing the blood vessels, increasing the blood flow, and thus reducing the risk of heart disease. UCLA researchers concluded that broccoli can boost our immune systems, especially as we get older. And in perhaps the most welcome news, a Tulane University doctoral student proved that chocolate, or rather a cocoa powder, which is an extract of chocolate, can fight tooth decay and is actually more effective than fluoride. When you are hearing this and making a mental note to buy more apples, olive oil, garlic, broccoli, or chocolate, you are demonstrating to the best of your abilities that most of us care about the health of our bodies. We need to show the same care to the South Sudan body to which we all belong. The metaphor of a physical body is one we can all relate to. It is the picture of unity in diversity. Just as within a body, every limb and organ plays its part, so in South Sudanese society, every person, ability, and spiritual gift plays its part. Unity is the key truth. Just as within a body there are many parts, but remains one entity. 5 years ago, South Sudanese citizens of complex diversities, young and old, men and women, short and tall, dark and light-skinned, rich and poor, educated and not educated, disabled and not disabled, Muslims and Christians alike, came together with concerted action and self-belief to complete the journey that their forefathers began at the Juba Conference of June 1947. We came together once again to proclaim our own destiny, that we are one people, that we are one nation, irrespective of the tribes we belong, the languages we speak, and the regions we come from. We are bound together with the spirit of comradeship and the spirit of South Sudanism, and greatly inspired by the legacy of our founding fathers and founding mothers, like Dr. John Garang Dimabio, Carbino Panyimbol, William Nyon Bany, Orok Tokarok, Joseph Oduho, Francis Ngor, Agaragum, Clement Boro, Samuel Abujon Kabashi, and many others. We are united. We are united with a common purpose, by our shared humanity, by our shared values, by our love for each other, and by our respect for human rights and human dignity, and by a fundamental belief that is deeply rooted in the hearts and minds of my fellow South Sudanese throughout the world, that freedom is the birthright of every human being, that all men and women are created equal, that no human being on this planet Earth has the right to end the life of another human being except the Creator, that your life is as precious as my life, that I am my brother's keeper, that I am my sister's keeper. This is why during the two civil wars for liberation, the Anyanya War from 1955 to 1972, and the Sudan People's Liberation Movement from 1983 to 2005, we were able to bear the burden of liberation struggle, to pay a high price for freedom, surround obstacles, overcome challenges, gain the respect and recognition of community of nations. 5 years ago, South Sudanese citizens stood together and spoke with one voice through the power of the ballot box, saying no to the old Sudan of freedom, of dictatorship and oppression, of marginalization and slavery, of intolerance and censorship, of injustice and human rights violation. And yes to the Republic of South Sudan, of freedom and democracy, of justice and equality, of peace and prosperity. Together we raised our South Sudanese flag, the symbol of liberty, and declared the Republic of South Sudan the 54th African country and the world's 193rd country. Together we beat the drums of liberty and blew trumpets of freedom, with joy in our hearts and songs of gladness on our lips. For we have seen the vision of hope and felt the power of concerted action and self-belief by completing the dreams, the aspirations of our forefathers coming to reality. 5 years later, my friends, South Sudan has been characterized by the international media and in the eyes of the international community with history of deeply rooted corruption, tribalism, senseless wars, terrible bloodshed that flooded the country, homelessness, and poverty. But what is the problem of South Sudan? Late Dr. John Garang Dimabio, the chairman of our party, the first chairman of our party, diagnosed the problem of all Sudan as political Islam used by the few, namely the Khartoum ruling clique, to consolidate power and to oppress others. It is my well-guided opinion that the problem of South Sudan can be described in few words: political tribalism, lack of nationalism, and power struggle. Politicians exploit our tribal and ethnic differences to achieve their political agenda, subjecting millions of innocent South Sudanese citizens to hatred, divisions, violence, and untold suffering. And quite often we South Sudanese citizens judge each other by the tribes we belong, by the language we speak, and the state or region we come from. But as South Sudanese, my friends, we cannot afford to be divided on tribal lines. During the years of struggle, we suffered together, went to jail together, ran to the bush together, died together, as South Sudanese. And so in the Republic of South Sudan, we must rise above tribal and ethnic differences to embrace the sense of nationalism. To embrace the sense of nationalism and see each other first and foremost as South Sudanese and not as Dinka, Nuer, Shuluk, Anyuak, Murle, Bari, Mali, Balanda, or Zande. And my friends, the beginning is now. We cannot continue to live as an angry nation. We must forgive, we must reconcile, and we must establish permanent peace in South Sudan. God has created the Republic of South Sudan as a beautiful country with rich mineral resources and with the 64 tribes to live together in peace, in harmony, and with equal opportunities. So we must accept each other and be tolerant of each other's diversity and come together as one family belonging to the South Sudanese body. And so we have come today and gathered here in this city of Newark, New Jersey, 5 years later, with a promise to sign a promissory note that will return us to the founding principles of our republic. And committing ourselves that together, that have built a republic of South Sudan that belongs to all its citizens, irrespective of tribe, gender, disability, religious affiliation, or economic status. A Republic of South Sudan in which all its citizens will live together in peace and in harmony. A Republic of South Sudan where South Sudanism is what binds us together and is therefore a basis for national identity and unity. Together, let us build the Republic of South Sudan that will feed the hungry, that will provide shelter to the homeless, that will provide clean water, that will provide quality health care, that will protect human rights and prevent premature death. Together, let us build the Republic of South Sudan that recognizes women's rights as human rights, building on the achievements of empowering women, placing them in strategic leadership positions, with a dream and hope. The dream and hope that someday a great South Sudanese woman will rise to the presidential palace in Juba as president of the republic. Together, let us build a Republic of South Sudan that will build schools and educate South Sudanese children to the wonders of the world. Together, let us provide honorable retirement to our senior citizens, the elderly, by providing them honorable retirement through housing and free health care and monthly allowance. Together, let us accept the members of my community, the disabled citizens of South Sudan whose lives are crippled with homelessness, with poverty, with unemployment, discrimination and rejection, as full partners in their own country of the Republic of South Sudan. Above all this, my friends, let us build a nation that will give us the riches of freedom, equal distribution of resources, and security of justice. This is the promissory note we are signing tonight. But for the promissory note to become a reality, we must believe in ourselves that the worst days of bitterness and hatred are behind us, and the best days of bright and prosperous South Sudan are ahead. We must meet the future with vibrant energy and renewed spirit of patriotism. We must not forget our history. We must not dishonor our heritage. And we must not abandon our mission of first-class citizenship in society. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, the future is pregnant with promise. Let us meet it with hope. Let us meet it with joy. But most importantly of all, my friends, let us meet it together in peace and unity. Come, Join me in this journey and let us make the dream of peaceful and prosperous South Sudan a reality. Thank you very much.
Sika huriaja